Hello everyone, I'm back again with another tutorial video, and today I'll be making a wall art. I'll start by painting my stones. These are fine stones. I'll paint them and I'll paint them into any color: pink, red, orange, into flower colors, and then I'll set that aside. After painting, I'll go um I'll go in with my nail polish hardener, colorless hardener nail polish to make this glittering and shining. I'll make sure I go all around using this to polish the painted stones. Now on to the next step, which is to cut out your cardboard, which you would be needing for this wall arts. I'll be cutting that out and setting it aside using my knife cutter. I'll also cut out the cardboard into smaller sections. These are what I'll be using for the frames, and afterwards I'll peel it off to get this other designer's part. Later on in the video, I'll show you how I went about getting this other fancy part of the cardboard. Before placing my frames, I'll go ahead to wrap this up with a white A4 blank paper, and I'll use my glue to wrap this up. I almost made a mistake. I wanted to put my frames and then I remembered I have to wrap this up first. This is the next step: wrap up your cardboard. Now after cutting all the frames in different shapes, I'll go ahead to start sticking that onto the cardboard on all the edges using my Tobon glue. Now on to the explanation of how I got this other part of the designer's cardboard. After cutting my cardboard into the frames, into the shape of the frame I want, I'll go ahead to use a wet damp cloth to wipe this properly. Wipe it and wipe it. Then after a few minutes, I'll go ahead to peel it off. That's how I was able to get this designer's part of the cardboard. And I'm going to use these smaller pieces which I'm cutting to also decorate the frame of my wall art. Now before I go ahead to design the frames with those smaller pieces which I earlier cut, I'll be painting this frame first, and the color of my choice for this frame will be brown color. Now I'll pick the color of my choice and go ahead to color this frame before going to stick those smaller pieces onto the frame, which I'll be coloring right now. Now after coloring the frame, I noticed some colors were splashed all over the white blank paper underneath it, so I'll just use white paint to go ahead to conceal that, so whatever I'll be placing on it will come out neatly. Now for the next step, I'll be taking the smaller pieces of the designer's cardboard which I had earlier cut into smaller shapes, and I'll go ahead to start placing that on the painted frame, and I'll make sure this goes all around this frame. Now after I'm done with the frame, I'll go ahead with the next step, which is to start sticking my painted colored stones on the on the paper. So I'll go ahead to do this, arranging the stones properly using the glue gun. Now for the next step, which might be very challenging, but you have to be very patient. You'll be needing a wire cord of a charger, which is not needed. Yes, and your scissors, you go ahead to measure the flower to the length which you'll be needing, from the beginning top from the flower to the end. Go ahead to measure that and begin cutting according to the length of each flower. After cutting, then the next step is to paint. You take your paint color, any paint of your choice, and it should be color green, because of course flowers, stems of flowers and leaves are green, so you use color green. I mixed two color greens, the darker shade and the lighter shade. I mixed that and I began to paint. Now the final step after painting is to go ahead to start placing dots on your flower, using your glue, precisely your glue gun, and carefully place that.